Comparable to iguanas as a Galapagos emblem are the giant tortoises for which the islands are named. Galapagos is Spanish for tortoises. The tortoises have evolved different shells, domed or saddleback, depending on available food, or more accurately, whether the food requires them to raise their necks to nibble on cactus or merely to browse at ground level. They've also adapted to a different role. Tortoises are reptiles, but in the Galapagos, they fill a niche normally occupied by mammals, simply because large mammals couldn't make the trip by wind or sea to the Galapagos.
As far as their role in the ecology on these islands, giant tortoises in Galapagos are sort of the main herbivore, the big-time browser and grazer. There are no large mammals in these islands, so in a way, these tortoises are sort of the equivalent of what bison would be on the plains in North America, or what wildebeest would be in East Africa.
Except that bison and wildebeest can move fast when necessary. Tortoises, with no predators chasing them and no competition for food, had no need for speed and evolved as slow movers, often living past the age of 100 without ever being in a rush.
When you see tortoises up in the highlands wade into a pool, they don't just sort of wade in, splash down, and then leave. They wade in the pool. They keep their head above water, but other than that, they might sit there for a day or two at a time and essentially not move. This is the large herbivore on the island, and there's really no need for them to move fast. Except for people being around, they're calling the shots. Before there were any people here, tortoises really didn't have much of a problem.
But when people arrived, the tortoises had a big problem. This is Tagus Cove, an anchorage favored by pirates and whalers from the late 1600s to the mid-1800s. They came here not just to carve graffiti into the walls, but to load their ships with tortoises, plentiful, nutritious, delicious tortoises.
Tortoises were a great source of food for early sailors because tortoises can live for months, oftentimes 6 or 8 months, without eating or drinking. I mean, it's horrible for the tortoises, but for people out at sea, these tortoises were a real godsend. You could take tortoises from the inland down to your ship, turn them upside down so the tortoises were helpless, couldn't move, and literally fill your hold with tortoises. Whaling records record thousands and thousands of tortoises taken from Galapagos during the whaling heyday in the early 1800s. You see figures of 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, 1 million tortoises removed from Galapagos, and it was at that point the tortoise populations really crashed hard.
Ironically, even Darwin and his shipmates on the Beagle consumed a load of tortoises on the voyage home. The remains were thrown overboard as garbage. No one, including Darwin, realized what valuable evolutionary evidence they would be, showing tortoises on different islands evolving into different species.